we continue our sports page, Summer of Football, as we go around the country and preview some teams heading into the 2012 season. Someone has joined us on the show. Always great to have Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders head coach Rick Stockstill here on the new Sentinel Sports Page. Hey, Coach, it's Vince Ferrara and John Adams. How you doing this morning?
Great, Vince. How you guys doing, John?
We're doing well, Rick. Thanks.
Well, good. Coach, certainly your season didn't close out like you wanted last year. I know you expected more. Kind of talk about what the themes were in this offseason and if you feel like you got some real work done.
Yeah, been very pleased, obviously, understatement that last year didn't go as we had hoped or planned. So, but that's behind us, and there's several reasons what happened last year, but they're all excuses, so I don't really, deal much with that anymore. So, but I've been very pleased with our team when we got back in January off Christmas break. Their commitment level has been at an extremely high level, higher than at any point, at any time last year. So I've been very pleased with them. The summer's gone great. They've worked hard. They've competed. Everything they've done, spring practice went well. So I'm really excited. Coaches talk all the time about having a chip on your shoulder, and I think this team does. I think this team is hungry to redeem ourselves, so to speak, from last year. I know I'm sitting here with 2 Grand Canyons on my shoulders, so I can't wait to get out there next Thursday, or we report Thursday and start Friday. So it's an exciting time for everybody in college football right now, but especially us.
Rick, extraordinary circumstances aside, your former college coach, Bobby Bowden at Florida State, became the all-time winningest coach this week because of the penalties against Penn State levied by the NCAA. You were a part of that. You were a quarterback on probably his first great team, so at Florida State. I was just curious to your reaction about Bobby Bowden being so recognized.
Well, there's no doubt, and I've said it many times, that Coach Bowden, is other than my father, has been the most influential male person in my life. And I have a ton of respect and appreciation and love for Coach Bowden. I try to coach like Coach Bowden as much as any coach I've ever been with. So I have a ton of respect for him. I know he would be the first person to say that, he would have hated to get this honor this way because of what a terrible tragedy there. But I also say and believe this, Coach Bowden had 12 or 13, 14 wins taken away from him by the NCAA. And, I know that's not 100, but part of me believes had those wins not been taken away from him, there's a pretty good chance he'd still be coaching today. And so I'm proud to say that I played for the winningest coach of all time in college football. And, there's mixed emotions because of how he achieved this honor. Part of me just believes that he'd still be coaching today, if things had gone differently 5 or 6 years ago.
Rick, also with Coach Bowden, I'm not trying to downgrade what Paterno did at Penn State. He obviously had a great career there, despite how things ended. But he did it all at one school, and Penn State wasn't downtrodden when he took over. Your coach, Bobby Bowden, took over a program at West Virginia, and he had to build that up. He also had to rebuild Florida State as well. So the starting points weren't the same. And everybody remembers Bobby Bowden for that incredible 14-year run at Florida State. We're in the top 5 every year, but he had to rebuild that program. So he could have even more wins than he does if he'd have started at a higher level at those places.
You're exactly right. And Coach Bowden's first year was 1976. And in 1975, Florida State, my first year was 77. So, I still remember everything that was taking place there. But in 75, the Florida State Board of Regents were considering dropping football because the program was so bad. Up to that point, it was more or less, we'll give this guy a chance to see what he can do, and if he can, save the program, revitalize the program, and if he can't do it, then we just won't play football here. And Coach Bowden came in, and the first year he went 5-6, and then after that, we were 10-2, 8-3, 11-1, 10-2, and just and if you'll remember, the people we were playing, it's not like who they play now. My senior year, we go to Notre Dame, we go to Pittsburgh, we go to Nebraska, we go to LSU, we go to Ohio State 5 weeks in a row. We played those guys. We go to LSU four years in a row, and we won all 4 of them. And so you think about who he played, who he was cutting his teeth against, so to speak, there in those early days of Florida State. I mean, it was, everybody hears it all the time, we'll go anywhere and play anybody, all that kind of stuff. Well, heck, we did it. He did it.
Visiting with Rick Stockstill, the head football coach at Middle Tennessee, in our Sports Page Summer of Football, previewing the Blue Raiders in 2012. Coach, you've had some changes to your coaching staff that you made here this offseason, including a guy that a lot of fans of the SEC are very familiar with, and Tyrone Nix, added to your defensive staff as co-coordinator. Talk about the changes to the staff and maybe how that might affect you guys scheme-wise on both sides of the ball.
Well, I don't think it's going to change us or affect us that much scheme-wise. When you have one coach leave or one player, say a quarterback leaves or whatnot, you still have 150, 175 people within your organization, counting players and everybody. So it's a lot easier for that one coach to adapt to the players and the rest of the staff as it is to bring in a whole new scheme and philosophy. So, but Tyrone and I coached together, at South Carolina. We've been friends in this profession for a long time, and just very fortunate that he was available, and we're fortunate enough that he decided to come here. And but he'll bring a wealth of knowledge. He's an excellent football coach. He's an excellent man. He's a great teacher and communicator with the players. And I think just his expertise from coaching and plus being in the SEC, the last 8 or 9 years, brings an air of confidence to the defense, to our defensive players and our coaches that, he's been in, without a doubt, the best league in college football for the last 8 or 9 years. So that'll help us tremendously. And then we've got 2 offensive line coaches that are in here that I'm really excited about. A great deal of enthusiasm, passion, knowledge, and just have done a tremendous job with our young offensive line since they got here in February or January. So really excited about Glenn Ellerby and Matt Moore being here as well.
Coach, wish we had more time with you. We were up against it, but we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much. Always great to visit with you.
I appreciate you guys. Have a great day.